Hi, and thank you for joining us for the first session of a series of presentations on the design code for the future of St. Raph's. A design code is a document that describes the key design principles in a simple, concise, and mainly graphic format. It translates the residents' design preferences into a code for architects and designers to use. Through June, the design team have been holding weekly code design workshops online with the residents board, St. Raph's Voice. The workshops included presentations and discussions on 3 subjects: public realm, homes, and community. In this presentation, we will be focusing on the public realm. We will be looking at the spaces outside the home that contribute to making a good, safe, and welcoming environment to live in. In the live session with St. Raph's Voice, there was an opportunity for members to provide their feedback on each topic. We would also like to hear your thoughts and would appreciate any feedback you can give us via the online form or the hard copy booklet which you should have received in the post. More copies are also available at Henderson House. The estate has many positive qualities that we can build upon. There are opportunities to tackle some of the challenges in the quality of the public realm within the estate. Residents in past discussions have said that the park could feel more inviting and less disconnected from the estate with better maintenance and usable green spaces. Public amenities, play and leisure facilities need to be better located. The North Circular Road has a major impact on the estate through congestion, speed and road safety, noise and pollution. There are also issues with parking for residents and their visitors. Residents have also said that there is a need to improve the river, making it safe and clean. They like the proposed neighbourhood streets and would like to see improved visual connections throughout the estate. We will discuss and develop ideas about the public realm by going on a virtual walk around St. Raph's. We will cover 3 key themes in this discussion. Part 1 will focus on streets and parking, Part 2 will cover play, and Part 3 will discuss landscape and planting. So, what are the streets like at St. Raphael's estate? Let's start by looking at Pitfield Way on the Blue Route, looking at the streets and parking. Stop 1 is a key entrance for cars into the estate. Stop 2 is at the heart of the estate, close to Henderson House and the local shops. Stop 3 is a key exit out of St. Raph's. What could streets be like? There are different approaches that can be considered when designing a street. Pedestrianised streets are one approach. They are generally traffic-free with a people-orientated approach which aims to create a safer space for play and social interaction directly outside the home. They can be particularly relevant for smaller residential-only streets without the need for traffic. Wide pavements allow access for cars while also prioritising pedestrians. Pavements of an extended width allow more space for pedestrians to walk safely through the area. This type of street can be suitable for busier main routes throughout the estate. Shared surface streets combine the vehicular and pedestrian access. They remove the separation of vehicles, pedestrians and cyclists and can create a more vibrant streetscape. They can also encourage social interaction, accessibility and reduce traffic speeds. The images here show examples of different approaches to designing streets. Feel free to pause the video if you want to take a closer look. The nature of streets is linked to the type of parking. It is important that we discuss these in a holistic and connected way. Continuing on the Blue Route, we walk along Owen Way and Henderson Close, where we can see the typical parking conditions within the estate. What opportunities are there to improve for both infill and redevelopment? At stop 1, we see the typical street parking scenario. Cars breach the pavement, leaving less room for pedestrians. Stop 2 is a typical residential parking scenario. With garage spaces being used for other things, cars are parked in front of houses within the public realm. Stop 3 shows a parking court at the centre of the estate. How can we improve on these situations? We can incorporate greener elements into the street parking areas, use permeable surfaces instead of sealed paving. Parking can be on uniform surface streets at the same level with the footway to make it feel better integrated into the public realm. We can also incorporate pockets parked in the public realm around on-street parking. Finally, the parking strategy can be considered with the pedestrian and cycle network. At previous events, the community have told us their views on parking. Some have said things like, they like the idea of having a couple of parking areas. In the feedback from the third public exhibition, 33% of residents responded that they preferred on-street parking, closely followed by 24% who preferred small open car parking. So how do these preferences translate and affect design, and where can they be implemented? On-street parking can be relevant for streets with townhouses and maisonettes. This strategy involves parking your vehicle along the street curbs, with or without parking restrictions. Off-street parking can utilise small outdoor parking lots in key locations. It can be suitable near smaller apartment buildings. An integrated parking approach can provide secure parking within the ground floor of an apartment building. It is appropriate for medium-sized apartment buildings with a raised courtyard above. The design of parking areas will depend on what is appropriate for the area of the estate and the types of homes. The images here show examples of different approaches to the design of parking. Feel free to pause the video if you want to take a closer look. Before we move on to the next chapter, please pause for a short moment to provide some feedback via the online form or the hard copy feedback form. We will now talk about play at St. Raph's. We will be following the yellow route. Around Henderson Close and Lilburn Walk, we will look at play areas of the estate and discuss what opportunities there are to improve play and leisure on the estates for both infill and redevelopment. Stop 1 shows a typical example of neighbourhood play at St. Raph's. Stop 2 shows a typical playground within the estate, and Stop 3 describes a play in the park condition. Developing a strategy for play can include the following: provision of adequately designed playable spaces, which are multifunctional and provide incidental playable space. It can also provide diverse play spaces for different age groups, which are safe, secure, and provide accessible play spaces. Play provision should be based on the current GLA standards so that it can support the future tenure of St. Raph's Estate. At previous events, the community has told us their views on play at St. Raph's. Some have said that there is a lack of play space, especially to the north of the estate. Developing a strategy for play at St. Raph's will include different approaches. It can consider strategies such as play in the park, which can accommodate local play within the park. This type of play will be within 400 metres walking distance from homes. Another approach is play in the estate, which considers neighbourhood play. Such play zones can be off-site and within 800 metres walking distance from homes. Play can also happen in informal ways. Doorstep play can be accommodated in courtyards or open spaces and streets within 100 metres walking distance from homes. If you are interested in further reading about design guidance for play, you can refer to Policy 3.6 of the London Plan, which covers young people's play and informal recreation facilities. The images here show examples of different approaches to the design of play spaces. Feel free to pause the video if you would like to take a closer look. Before we move on to the next chapter, please pause for a short moment to provide some feedback via the online form or the hard copy feedback form. The last section of the walk takes us through the park and is an opportunity to consider the estate's landscaping and planting. Continuing on the red route, our walk through the park includes 3 stops. At stop 1, we can observe the vastness of the green space. Stop 2 brings us closer to the housing and we are able to see how the park integrates with the buildings of the estate. Stop 3 shows a typical walking route through the park. We should consider what opportunities there are to improve green spaces for both infill and redevelopment. We can think about the following: creating a linear green network connecting north to south along the River Brent. There is also opportunities to enhance local access to nature and wildlife, as well as improving planting and greenery across the estate. We can also enrich the river park with recreational facilities for residents. We can also think about better design and use of the park edges. Finally, there is an opportunity to activate the park through different programs and uses. In the redevelopment workshops in January, residents expressed that they would rather have several parks than just one. This is a useful way of thinking about the types of green spaces at St. Raph's. Different approaches will be suitable for different locations. We can consider the following strategies. The first approach can consider the urban park, green spaces which can be open and natural green areas combining ecological and leisure areas and activities. Another approach is to think about urban greening. We can also use urban green squares and courtyards. These can incorporate programs such as sports and play areas, community allotments, and a small stage or bandstand for events. Linear green spaces can be incorporated into new neighbourhoods. These can be green alleys or parklets with clusters of trees, rain gardens next to seating areas, and the use of permeable paving. If you are interested in further reading about design guidance for landscape and planting, you can refer to Policy G5 of the London Plan, which covers urban greening. The images shown on this page explore different opportunities to improve green areas, which can include creating a green network through green community spaces and green corridors from the estate to the river, bringing nature to residents' front doors through pocket green parks and soft landscaping, and improving the quality of Brent River Park through diverse planting and uses. Tied to the topic of landscape and planting is a conversation about sustainability. Here we have the opportunity to ask, how can public spaces be more sustainable? Sustainable biodiversity must be a key aspect of the development of St. Raph's. Through this, residents could benefit from local access to wildlife and nature, and enjoy an improved relationship between the built estate and the green spaces. This will improve the estate for both human and non-human life. If you are interested in further reading about design guidance for approaching sustainability, you can refer to guidance documents such as the London Energy Transformation Initiative's Climate Emergency Design Guide and the 2030 Climate Challenge Guidance by the Royal Institute of British Architects. In thinking about sustainability, we can consider a range of approaches such as rewilding offers the potential restoration of the River Brent through the River Brent Restoration Programme and the enhancement of the riverbed where possible to host ecological habitats. We can also include wetlands and grasslands, which are species-rich areas which are able to reduce flood risk. Another approach to consider is urban greening, which involves maximising the incorporation of urban greening elements to support biodiversity. It can also mitigate against the urban heat island effect and reduce air and noise pollution. It can also slow down wind speeds and manage to efficiently mitigate rainwater. An approach to sustainability should also consider the blue network of the estate. We can consider approaches that include an extended sustainable drainage system or a SODS network to mitigate the flood risk and contribute to a climate adaptation strategy. Opportunities to improve public realm sustainability can include private and public green spaces throughout the estate, communal garden and farming spaces, and the continuation of the rewilding of River Brent. We must consider the following policies when thinking about sustainability for the future of St. Raph's. Firstly, Policy G5 of the 2020 Draft London Plan. Secondly, the Green Space Information for Greater London's Site of Nature Conservation for River Brent, and the European Water Framework Directive for River Brent. Safety and security in the public realm are important to the future of St. Raph's. So we ask, how can design help public spaces feel safer? There are opportunities to think about the following. Firstly, improving the levels of lighting and surveillance within the public realm. Secondly, promoting a community feeling to help residents feel safer in the estate. And thirdly, improving street frontages with passive and artificial surveillance, lighting systems, and scheduling the permeability of public spaces. We must address Policy 7.13 on safety and security and the resilience to emergency within the London plan as we think about safety within the public realm. Different approaches will be suitable for different parts of the estate. Active street frontages and passive surveillance can be used in key public spaces, as well as dispersed across the site to create an active and safe place for walking. When we consider lighting and CCTV cameras in public spaces, the design of the public realm must be in accordance with secured by design principles. It should introduce outdoor lighting where appropriate, enhance natural surveillance, as well as adding additional features including glazing, CCTV, and secure bicycle and bin stores. Communal courtyards should be designed as secured spaces. These spaces can be secured for residents and have entrances that are visible from the public space with lighting and suitable security systems in place. The images here show examples of different approaches to green space, landscape, and sustainability. Feel free to pause the video if you want to take a closer look. We are also keen to hear your thoughts on lighting, safety, and security. Thank you for listening to this presentation on the public realm of St. Raph's for the Design Code. We would really appreciate your feedback. You can fill in the form in the booklet or go online to do so. Any questions you have, please contact the project team through the details on this page. Thank you, and we hope to see you soon.